All right, joining us now is our pal Jonathan Hood. You hear him up, obviously, ESPN Chicago, Busted Open on the weekends, Good Karma Wrestling. He's everywhere. Love having you aboard, Jay Hood. Good to see you. We have a huge pro wrestling weekender here. Saturday afternoon, we got NXT Great American Bash. Also, AEW All In. Saturday night, you got Saturday night's main event. Sunday, you got Evolution 2. Major pro wrestling. How you doing? You excited for what's to come this weekend?
I'm excited. Nothing keeps us in the house on a beautiful Saturday in the summer like pro wrestling. I mean,
Right.
all day. Zaz, it's one thing for us to watch a football game, 3 hours out of your time. Baseball, 2.5 hours, fine. But wrestling, we've got it all day. So we love it. So, of course, we'll be watching. So I can't wait for Saturday.
So I want to start asking. Well, first, no, let's start here. Busted Open, which I mentioned last week when the news came out. Busted Open 24/7 is now turned into Pro Wrestling Nation 24/7. Of course, you and Justin LeBar have been doing Sundays Busted Open on channel 156. The channel is now rebranded on SiriusXM to Pro Wrestling Nation 24/7, which is incredible. So congrats to you, obviously. And it's just so cool because I think you and I are around the same age where
Mm-hmm.
we're in a place now where it's unbelievable that there is a channel on a national service that offers pro wrestling talk 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. It's pretty awesome.
It really is. I know that David Greco has wanted this for a long time, and he was battling with management, say, hey, we got to do this full time 24/7. He says MMA is fine, but pro wrestling is red hot. And I know that some of the UFC people weren't happy with it, but let's just be honest, Zaz. Let's just be honest. UFC does not have the star power like pro wrestling has. It just doesn't. They're always about John Jones here and another fighter here. But the whole thing is that for pro wrestling, whether it's WWE, AEW, the International, I mean, people are talking about it all the time. It's part of pop culture. So I'm just happy for Pro Wrestling Nation 24/7 to have Busted Open, to have all these shows and open it up a little bit. So that's great for the wrestling fan to listen all day. And anytime that they tune in, they get wrestling talk. And because the product is hot.
It's interesting where obviously, regular dudes like you and me want to talk pro wrestling,
Yeah.
so it makes sense that we would want a radio show or listen to a radio show like that. But I think it's so interesting where Dave LaGreca was able to get guys like Bully Ray and Tommy Dreamer and Mark Henry to buy in so early on doing a pro wrestling radio show. Like
Mm-hmm.
that part is super interesting to me.
Yeah, me too. When you think about it, these guys still do independent shows. Bully still does stuff with WWE here or there. Tommy Dreamer pretty much is running TNA. So to be able to carve out time for them to be able to do a 3-hour talk show, hey, we got the NFL network, it's Major League Baseball network, NHL. Why not pro wrestling, right? And bring analysts in and they can give their point of view. You know who's killing it right now is Natty Neidhart.
Yeah.
She has her own segment, like for an hour, and she gives you the behind the scenes of what's going on in her independent shots and also in WWE, which is really cool. So we've got established veterans, but also those who are wrestling currently on a regular basis that can provide an analysis for Pro Wrestling Nation. So I just think that you got the old Baron Corbin, there's Nick Nemeth, and so I just think you got a really great blend of variety of analysts to go along with wrestling fans like me to hear what's going on behind the scenes. I just think it's great.
Pro Wrestling Nation 24/7 channel
Yeah.
156 Sirius XM. Really great stuff. So I want to ask you, I read this earlier today, the Players Tribune,
Mm-hmm.
either yesterday or 2 days ago. Charlotte Flair wrote a column in the Players Tribune. And a lot of times, pro wrestlers will write in the Players Tribune every now and then. It's really cool. All right. And so Charlotte Flair wrote a whole long piece, really just going back to her childhood and to right now in current time in the world of pro wrestling. And man, like she came off super
Yeah.
honest and super vulnerable. And I loved it. And but there's a part of it that made me feel bad too, Jay Hood. Feel bad for her, Jay
Yeah.
Hood, because I don't know if all the time when she gets booed, I don't know if it's all the time people booing her because she's a heel are people booing her because like they really don't like her? And that part to me is crazy because I think I love her. And I think she's by far, like, I don't think it's even close. She's the greatest women's wrestler of all time.
Well, Zaz, look at it like this. Okay, so when we go to a wrestling show and we boo the athlete, we're booing the character or we're booing creative. It's not personal. I thought that the combination of her talking as Charlotte and as Ashley Fleer really stood out to me about that piece because she's thinking, okay, are people booing me because I'm 0 for 3 in marriages? Are people booing me because they see me and they just see a failure in life? I actually am a human being. It's an interesting dichotomy, I think, for all these wrestlers that come out. Like John Cena. If anyone's feelings should be hurt, it should be John Cena, who spends time with sick kids and families and says a lot of great things on social media, but yet that same person that asked for the autograph is saying John Cena sucks. Now, again, he's a character, but at the same time, somewhere deep down, you got to be like, wait a minute, I just signed autographs for this family or for this particular kid, and yet he says that I suck. Like, at some point, that it affects you. So I just think that when you're Charlotte Flair, and I know it's very difficult, separate the fan and how they feel about the character versus who you really are. The thing is that it's been so much that's been revealed as like I shouldn't have to know about her divorces, but it's been out there. And then when it's part up in a promo, maybe clearly she did not know that was going to be in a promo.
Right.
That had to hurt. It's like, wait a minute, wait. You're talking about me, Ashley, not Charlotte. Charlotte hasn't been divorced 3 times,
Right.
like I have, Ashley. So that kind of thing hurts, and shows you, by the way, the difference between Vince McMahon's WWE and Triple H's WWE. The idea that was not cleared, and it took her aback, that says a lot. You might have hated the Vince way of everything is scripted. You got to read exactly what's on the paper. But that actually probably is better than having someone who's a neophyte in the business, yappy, as a champion saying, oh for 3 in marriages. Yeah. I mean, like that would never happen under Vince McMahon's WWE. If it is, by the way, that person, Tiffany Stratton, would be out. First of all, strip the championship. She would not be able to be at the top of the card. I think you and I both know that.
I wonder what like she was clearly upset about it. She talks about it in the column,
Yeah.
how she got thrown off because, like you said, Charlotte Flair has never been divorced.
Right.
So it caught her off guard. And then she even said that she reacted poorly to it. I wonder what happened when you get backstage after an incident like that.
Well, clearly nothing to Tiffany Stratton.
No, but I mean, between the two of them, like you would figure Charlotte must have confronted her, like something must have happened, right?
Yeah, like what the F is this? Like we didn't talk about this. We were gonna try. We have a struggle. We're gonna make it a little awkward, but not like that. I just think that that's a fail on Triple H and the management there to allow that to happen. But what's more surprising is that Tiffany Stratton is still a champion after all of this. It's not one of those slap on the wrist things. She got personal with someone that has been going through a tough time. Ashley Fleer has had a tough life here or there. The drinking, the boozing, the things that she was doing early in her life, she was able to become like one of the greatest superstars that the WWE's ever seen. And yeah, her personal life has been checkered, but not to the point where you have to bring that up as a story unless she clears it. And clearly, Charlotte did not know. So I can understand. I'm glad that she was able to speak on it because I thought that was very important for the fan to understand. Look, whatever you see on TMZ, whatever you read on Wikipedia, that's really me, but the character in here, boo me, cheer me, but actually make sure you have emotion about what I do in the ring, not what I do at home. I think that's only fair.
I hope people, you're listening right now. I hope you go and you read the Players Tribune and Charlotte Flair there because she really put a lot into that column, and I thought she came off terrific and honest. She is so great, and by the way, I love what they're doing with her right now with Alexa Bliss. Like, I think it's pretty clear her and Alexa Bliss are going to win the titles this weekend.
Yeah, I like the idea that Charlotte believes that that she's above Alexa Bliss. She's above everybody. I mean, she's the queen, right? But I just think that this helps Alexa Bliss in a lot of ways too, where her and Charlotte, again, you know how WWE does it, the odd bedfellows, right? Just the odd tag team. You put them together, see what happens. I just think that puts a new coat of paint on Charlotte. usually dominant as a singles. Now, maybe in an odd tag team with Alexa Bliss. Someone's got a big robe like Charlotte, and then you got Alexa Bliss with a little doll. Maybe it'll work.
I'm very much looking forward to Evolution this Sunday, but
Yeah.
it's funny because it's been a weird build to the show, which makes sense when you think about it, because normally when there's a big premium live event coming up, for several weeks in advance, the entire show of Raw, the entire show of SmackDown is built toward positioning all the storylines for that event. You can't do that with Evolution because it's an all-woman show, and there's only going to be a few women's segments every Raw and every SmackDown. So most of Raw and SmackDown in the weeks leading up have nothing to do with Evolution, understandably so, because it's an all-female show. So it's a really weird build that you get when you go into a show like this.
It's too much. First of all, the build's been awful. It has not been a good build. That's one. Two, I believe this is at Center Stage in Atlanta. That is a small building, if I'm not mistaken, and they have not sold it out at the time that we're having our conversation. I'm sure that they will eventually with walk-up tickets, but I think that that's a disservice to the great women across the board in WWE. It is. They kind of just slapped this together, and the only reason why they did that, and they said, well, okay, what else could we have to go against AEW All In? And so let's do a Great American Bash here because it's in Atlanta and it's the history. Dusty Rhodes' baby was the Great American Bash, and a lot of it took place in Atlanta, Georgia. Let's do that, and let's just throw another show out there, an NXT show. Let's throw and let's do this here thing with Evolution. I think that it's a great concept. I don't know why they dropped it originally. I'm glad that the women have their platform. I just think that they slapped this together without putting a lot of thought into it. And so I know Liv Morgan, they were a little monkey wrench and everything because of the injury, but the bottom line is I wish they would put more care and more time into it. Hell, they could probably sell more tickets that way.
Let's talk about Goldberg here. All right. Saturday night's main event. The main event, Goldberg retirement match, unless he wins the title. All right. And he's facing Gunther. Give me your thoughts here on Goldberg, because I got to tell you, I can't stand him these days. And obviously, I have a lot of look at my shirt. What shirt am I wearing?
Yes, Bret Hart.
I got my Bret Hart shirt on, all right? He is my all-time favorite, so obviously I have a lot of animosity because Bret's my guy. So I can't stand Goldberg, and I'm hoping we go into Saturday night. I hope Gunther kicks the shit out of him, but I really don't know what to expect with the match.
I think that likely what you just said is going to happen. Goldberg gets his last time in the sun in front of his family, and I think that that'll be all for Goldberg. There's no way that he's beating Gunther. There's no reason for Gunther to be able to get the championship back from Jey Uso, only to drop it to Bill Goldberg. The only way that Goldberg wins is that he wins the championship there in Atlanta, all the pomp and circumstance, everything else, all the fireworks, and then he's cashed in by Seth Rollins. That's the only way that I can see that happen. But I don't think that happens on Saturday night's main event. It's on NBC. As you well know, because this is on NBC and it's on network television, they have shorter segments. They got to get to their commercial breaks.
Right.
So to me, Zaz, this to me is 5 minutes and out. This is one segment and out, and you give Goldberg, the light golf applause, the golf clap, and then get out of here. Because it's great to see him back. I'm sure for some fans, I just have a sour taste in my mouth from Saudi Arabia when he almost killed the Undertaker. I'm like, dude, at some point you're done. He will be done on Saturday.
I mean, Jay Hood, that's Saudi Arabia. That was like 6 years ago.
It was.
So like 6-7 years later, how is he not going to be predominantly worse than he was that night?
That's why the match has got to be close. It's got to be short. It can't be 10, 15 minutes. He can't go that long. Hell, in his prime in WCW, couldn't go that long. It's one segment, 3-4 minutes, and it's Gunther too. So we're supposed to suspend disbelief, right? Gunther is an animal, all right? The big chops, he's got all the big power moves, all that. He puts you to sleep. How could Goldberg survive that? Hey, listen, I thought that their interaction on Raw was great. It was quick. It's exactly what you want to just give you the idea that maybe Goldberg can win, but Bill Goldberg can't win. There won't be a cash-in on Saturday night's main event. They would want to do it in a big spot like a pay-per-view, something like that. It can't happen on NBC. This is just nostalgia. Hell, NBC Saturday Night's Main Event is nostalgia. You got Jesse Ventura. You got the short matches. So that there's no room for Goldberg at the top anymore. Just one more match and that's it.
Where do you? We're halfway through Cena's retirement tour.
Yeah.
Where do you see the year ending for him?
Well, first of all, this has been like a B- C+ for me. And I think that the reason why is because when you are a heel, Zaz, you're supposed to be the aggressor. And then the babyface comes out from underneath, meaning that you have all the moves, you are beating the shit out of a babyface, and you see Cena can't do that. The last match we saw from Cena, I thought, was his best match as a champion. But you could just tell the short matches with the R-Truth, those things, his body does not hold up anymore. Even though his matchup against Punk, I thought, was the best that he's been. I think that once he takes on Cody Rhodes, I just feel like he will relinquish that championship and Cody will win. The problem is, I don't know if Cody sides with the final boss. Will The Rock be there to help him win the championship to turn on Cena? But I think at the end of the year, this is like Slaughter in 92. I want my country back. And there he was there and begging, Mean Gene, please, I made a mistake. Get the big chin out there. He's like, I'm sorry. And he got his country back, right? I'm sorry. That's what John sees. He's going to apologize to all of us. Sorry for the heel turn. I still love you. I know you think I suck, but I'm leaving. So long. And I think that's how it ends at the end of the year.
I think we're headed toward a double turn at SummerSlam.
Yeah.
If you go back to the last show, you go back to Money in the Bank, Cena, he didn't want to use the title belt like he'd been doing in his previous matches. He had the moment there, obviously, where he shook hands with Punk, but he and Punk both cleared the ring together. Mm-hmm. That's babyface stuff. And Cody Rhodes that night in his match with Randy Orton, Cody Rhodes worked as a heel that whole match. Randy Orton hurt his back early on, and Cody's attacking the back the whole match. That's heel stuff right there. Yes. And of course, there's been the rumors, that maybe Cody could be trying something new. I think we're headed in a direction. I do think Cody will beat Cena for the title at SummerSlam. I think we could be getting a double turn.
I think that could happen. But here's the thing, Zaz. Even though we did not have shows at the time, I would imagine a ZASLOW 2.0 show would have said, why did Steve Austin turn? And when he did turn in Houston at WrestleMania, it really didn't work out. Didn't work out that well. The John Cena turn, I'm fine with him being a heel. I just think it's just been mediocre. But then if you do that to Cody Rhodes, and he said this to Kay Adams, by the way, a few weeks ago in an interview, he said, yeah, I think maybe my babyface run is going to be coming to an end. I don't know why he'd say that in the open. That makes no sense to me, but he did say that. So just remember who's the top guy in the merchandise, who gets all the cheers, Cody Rhodes, and you're going to turn him heel? I'm just telling you, when you do these things, you better have a plan. They had no plan when Steve Austin turned because people still want to cheer him, even though he aligned himself with Vince McMahon, the number one guy, merch guy, the number one guy that's made all the money, turned heel, and people didn't like that era, as you recall. They did this with John Cena, and people still cheer Cena. It's still a mixed reaction. Imagine this happened to Cody Rhodes. Imagine him turning heel. So who's the number one babyface? I hope WWE is prepared for that if that's going to happen with Cody. Hope they're prepared for the future.
Jay Hood, I know you got your episode tonight, Good Karma Wrestling, which is every Thursday night. You got something fun coming up we can tell the people about?
Absolutely. We're just going to go through all the 18 different cards that we got to go through over the weekend. We'll make our predictions on that show on Good Karma Wrestling. It's on YouTube every Thursday. We always have fun with the show. And, of course, I'll have the wrap-up on Sunday on Pro Wrestling Nation 24/7 on SiriusXM. But I just wanted to say, hey, man, when you hear someone complaining about too many matches or too many shows, that's why we love wrestling, man. We can pick and choose what we want to see. For you and I, Saturday, it's a smorgasbord. We got everything. Yeah. We got a little of everything. We got Globe Life Field. We got Atlanta. We got all these shows. And we're in a wrestling war. They're head-to-head because Triple H says, this piss-and company. Not much of a piss-and company. Not much of a piss-and. If you're going head-to-head against AEW, you're concerned. And so now Triple H wants everyone to pick and choose. And I just think it's fun for all of us fans. It really is.
It's a great pro wrestling weekend, and it comes at a great time of the year because sports-wise, things are rather slow right now. You got the All-Star coming up next weekend. It's perfect timing to be excited about a pro wrestling weekend. Jay Hood, excellent job as always. Thanks for hanging out. Good catching up, man.
Thank you, Zaz.